Hi, everybody. This is Eating for Meaning. I'm your host, Millie Lytle, or Dr. Millie. I'm a naturopath and I'm a certified nutritionist. And we are exploring all the sun signs and how to eat for each different sun sign, whether it's your sun sign. Also, do check out your ascending or your rising sign as well as your moon sign, because that can also affect your health and how your body functions in relationship to food. As we're ascending, as we're becoming more spiritually aware, it's also very important to be in touch with our body, and our body are our temple. Your body is your temple, and so it's very important to not be perfect, but to be aware of what you're putting in your mouth. If we look at the food that's on the shelves of the grocery store, then if we think of it from a sinister perspective, which I can't help but do so because I do see the food that we're forced to eat if we select mainstream food as a form of population control. Because the food that we're eating is making us sick. It's giving us diabetes. It's giving us allergies. It's giving us high blood pressure. It's giving us food cravings. It's not by accident that so many Americans, so many North Americans, and even Western Europeans, Northern and Western Europeans, and now extending into Africa and the countries of the world that accept aid food, it's no wonder that we're suffering more and more from the Western chronic illness, which are related to obesity, related to cholesterol and cholesterol, blood sugar more than cholesterol, to be honest, stress, uh, migraine headaches, pressure, tension, depression, anxiety, cravings. And so the food that we're eating, if you think about it, is the biochemistry that you're putting into your body every day, 3 to 6 times a day. Or if you're not eating good food, then it's the biochemistry that you're not putting into your body those opportunities during the day. And this is affecting your health every single moment you're alive. And it's creating at the root level, at the root cause, how resistant you are to cold and flus, how much energy you have, how well you feel during the day, what your mood fluctuations are like, what your cravings are like, whether or not you have to self medicate with coffee, alcohol, take prescription medications or over the counter medications, whether you're in the medical system, how much you have to be included as part of the medical system, which is the sick care system that so much of us are facing. If you pay attention to your food, then you remove yourself from that common denominator for which so many people are being systemically controlled by the food that we're given, the food that's available to us by convenience, by first glance, because all the food in the grocery store shelves contains, if not hidden, but if you read the ingredients, you know it's there, but soy, corn, genetically modified foods, sugar beet or genetically modified canola oil, and genetically modified foods are altering genes, okay? Because the genes of the food itself is altered, and it can also alter our own genes, not to mention our cells on a more short-term level. It's a very concentrated amount of pesticides that you're getting. And what do pesticides do? They kill insects. And so if these are strong enough to kill insects, then imagine what they're doing to the cells of your body, not to mention pesticide levels are not controlled. They spray whenever they want. They put fungicides on seeds as much as they like. There's really very little FDA regulation, and there's very little understanding of how much chemical exposure we're getting. Chemicals are war, okay? It is warfare. It is a form of population control. I believe this very strongly. In order to become enlightened, in order to become in touch and in control of our own health and in our own evolution, then we really do need to take ourselves off the grid in a lot of the perspective, take ourselves off of prepackaged foods. And that's all the convenience foods that you might be used to eating. Now, am I saying that you can't eat any foods that you like ever again? I'm not saying that. However, I am saying that we need to develop a new palate, and this happens gradually. It is possible. We just have to expose ourselves to better quality food so that once you do that, once you start exposing yourself to better quality of food, increase your fruits and vegetable consumption, then you're no longer as vulnerable to illnesses, as well as to cravings, as well as to the control that this cheap, manufactured, overly processed, undernutritious, caloric food gives us. Okay, I am available for consultations. I am going to offer a very special price. My consultation fees as a naturopathic doctor are pretty high. They're $550 for the initial. They're $400 for follow-ups. I do have some packages, but I am going to offer a very special rate to my YouTube followers. This is a new channel for me. I really want to get myself in front of you, and I really want to help you as much as possible. I'm absolutely committed to helping people ascend from a nutritional perspective, as well as, mind, body, soul. This is all related to our health. And so I do mind, body, soul readings. Those are oracle card readings. I do them weekly here on YouTube. I just started, but this is something I'm going to continue. I can do a mind, body, oracle reading for you alone for the price of $50. And that's about a 20-minute reading. And we pick cards associated with what your question is. And that's in whatever way you're thinking about your relationships or your life or your health or your job, because it's all holistic. Okay. And I'm trying to help people improve their health in all of these ways, as we're all trying to, on a mission to ascend and trying to be the best possible versions of ourselves. The world, there's been no better time to do this work for yourself, because the world needs good energy, positive energy. It needs us uniting. It needs us sending positive energy to the powers that be, to the negative forces, to the dark side. We all need to reunite. We're here for a reason. We're here for a mission. And this is part of my mission, is to help you accomplish that. So mind, body, soul oracle readings are $50, and you can go onto my website at milliesays.com and book that. And this is only for my YouTube subscribers, okay? And you can also go on to my eatingformeaning.com page and book these. I am also doing horoscope readings, so medical astrology readings for you as an individual. We'll look at your sun, your moon, and your ascending, and we'll go over your main concerns, and I'll help you work out which foods you should be eating. This, again, is a very special deal. This is going to be $50, and you can book that right away. And I'm not sure how long these are going to last, but definitely I'm going to offer these for a little while as I build my channel. If you know anybody who's interested in taking advantage of one of these readings, please do have them come onto my YouTube channel, subscribe, like, share. I really appreciate it, guys. I really want to reach as many people as possible. I think that this movement is really growing. We need to be physically fit. It's not enough just to be spiritually fit. And I do not mean, you need to go to the gym. I'm not saying don't do that, but that's not really where we get fitness and health. We get fitness and health from tuning into ourselves and learning how all the inner workings of our mind and our soul and our spirit, as well as our physical, are affecting our physical being. We need to be strong physically. We need to be, warriors and activists. We need to have energy. We need to have a clear mind. We need to have a clear channeled heart. We need to know what our mission is and to know our purpose. And in order to be doing this, we need to be as healthy as possible. So I'm here to help you accomplish your vision and help you accomplish your nutrition goals and your health goals, so that you can be the best activist, the best mission agent that you possibly can be. So if you think you're a twin flame, or if you're a twin flame, or if you're a blue ray, or if you're a star seed, or if you're a mission pioneer, or if you're a soul star, wherever you feel like you are, if you know which galactic family you've come from, intergalactic family you've come from, then I'm definitely here to help you. And if you are confused as to what is happening to you, if you're confused or scared by what you're seeing or what you're feeling, or how people are responding to you in terms of your spiritual gifts, please do not be dismayed. This is part of your awakening. This is part of your gift. This is part of your soul's purpose. We are all going through this. You are not alone. And so if you feel alone, then please do reach out to me and connect, because it's really important that we unite and that we are aware of what's going on. I don't know what's going on with the light in this video. I don't know why it's changing so much, but I'm just going to take that as a lot of energy is coming through right now. And so stay tuned for your, thanks so much again for liking, subscribing. If you'd like to take advantage of one of my special offer readings, either for a mind, body, soul oracle reading, or which I'm also doing for Integral Fitness, their conscious dinner, their conscious family dinners coming up in December in New York. So I am offering them, I'm going to be offering them for free for that dinner, for the price of admission of the dinner. I'm not sure if they're still taking bookings or not for that, but so it is something that I'm going to be doing publicly as well. I do this within my practice, but I'm just offering these by themselves for $50. Or if you'd like the astrology portion, if you'd like to know what to eat for your sun sign, rising, and moon sign, then before we book that appointment or before we have that appointment, I'll have to know that information about you. And I'll have to know what your chief complaint is in terms of your nutrition. And then I'll give you also a 20-minute session, nutrition session. Okay, so again, thank you so much. I love you all. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for your comments. It really means a lot to me. And I'm going to try to respond to everybody's, but stay tuned for your sun sign as it relates to your nutrition. This is Medical Astrology on Eating for Meaning. Thank you. Hi, Taurus, and welcome to Medical Astrology. We're talking about your nutrition today. So, Taurus is regarded as a healthy sign in the moon, and just in the sun, they are regarded as a sign who loves food. And so, they can definitely succumb to problems related to food, and so we're going to go through that. But just as an introduction, in terms of Vedic astrology, and I've gotten some of this background information from indiaastrologer.com, that medical astrology is a division of Vedic astrology, which looks at tendencies and energies of all the different signs, but also the health aspects of human beings. And so medical astrology can be explained as a specialized field in which an astrologer does the horoscope of analysis of a person and uses principles of astrology to predict potential diseases. Now, I'm not an astrologer, I'm a naturopathic doctor, but I am used to looking at symptoms of the body and knowing what system this comes from and what weaknesses these pertain to, and how we use food and natural remedies, stress reduction, herbs, homeopathy, all of these natural ways, meditation, etc., to deal with these susceptibilities or these predispositions. So I do use medical astrology in my practice. I'm also trained in Chinese medicine, and a lot of acupuncture, for instance, does come from Chinese medicine. Acupuncture and Chinese medicine does come from the stars and the cosmos and the zodiac. Okay, so medical astrology is a branch of science, but that makes use of information that's collected from one's Vedic horoscope and then to find out diseases, timing, the planets that are responsible, and therapies which can help to cure a person. Now, this is a traditional form of science. Whether or not you find this in, PubMed, whether it's evidence-based or not, that's just people's preferences and how the world's going and who wants to fund research. Just because something's not proven in a medical journal, that just means that medicine's not looking at it. It doesn't mean that it's not true. And that's something that I really do want to stress because, the system is biased. It's biased in order who's asking the questions, who's getting the funding for the questions they ask, and who's really bothering with that. Because even if something's not proven, everybody's getting sick. People are getting sick every day, and there's always people like myself that are wanting to help those people get better with the most natural means possible. And we don't have to wait for evidence to come out that tells us whether or not a certain herb or a certain food helps a person. So, of course, it's fun to look at science, and it's very interesting, and it's valid in some ways, but then science is also biased in terms of who's funding it, and then that's not science anymore. I hate to say it, but anytime money goes into science, it's always a little bit potentially biased, and there's error in terms of who's paying and who's researching and how the study's laid out. Okay, so just something to consider when we're considering evidence-based medicine. I really do think evidence-based medicine is kind of going down because people, the bias that's inherent in evidence-based medicine as it pertains to medicine. Okay, medicine in peer-reviewed journals, this is only people who believe in that one system who are looking, who are considered peers, who are validating that information. What about the people who believe in other sources of information? What about people who believe in the spiritual aspect of information, or who believe in the traditional or folkloric aspect of information, or who believe in the holistic aspect of information? They're not considered peers anymore, and so then their information is not, or their point of view is not considered valid. And that's actually discriminatory and biased against the entire system that creates the evidence. So a lot to think about when we're thinking about science and what's proven and what works. And so I'm coming from the holistic consciousness. I'm certainly coming and speaking with you, Taurians, in terms of how to improve your health and what you can do yourself at home, what to pay attention to. So the 12 zodiac signs are related to the 12 areas of the body. So according to Vedic or Indian astrology, the human body is divided into 12 parts, and each of these 12 parts is connected to the 12 houses of the zodiac. And so if by any means these houses are not in a good position, a person can suffer from diseases that are related to that particular house. And then the disease can only be cured when the person has the takes the remedies that of the house that are appropriate. So this takes a lot of skill and a lot of understanding, but I am here to help empower you as to what to do for yourself. And there are even astrological remedies in Indian Vedic astrology which can help with preventing these diseases. And that's the whole point of what I'm here educating you to do. So if this information can be life-saving for you, not just for you Taurians, if it's your sun sign, your rising, or your ascending sign, but for everybody this applies. And so using medical astrology can be a way we can prevent illnesses and understand what's going on in our body. Okay. So there's the moon governs Taurus and the sun governs Taurus in terms of medical astrology. And so we're going to cover both of those. And I'm going to talk about foods that you should eat or should not eat in order to help improve that area of your body. So Taurus governs the kind of ENT area, so the ears, nose, throat area. It's when the moon is strong, Taurians have a good zodiac to be well accepted. So the Taurus moon is considered healthy. However, people under stress, Taurians under stress, suffer from problems in these areas: the neck, the throat, maybe immune conditions like mumps, strep throat are very common among natives of Taurus. All kinds of sore throat, pharyngitis, laryngitis, losing the voice, issues with the esophagus, heartburn or silent heartburn that comes up if you get phlegm or if you get a sore throat in the morning. That can come from acid reflux, silent acid reflux. And so the ways to address those is to eat foods that are soothing to the throat. So foods that are not too scalding, that are not very mucus producing. So avoiding sugar, avoiding too much dairy, avoiding any food allergies that irritate the stomach or that irritate the throat directly. If the stomach is irritated, then either mucus or acid can come up from the stomach and burn the throat, especially at night while we're sleeping. Did you see it? Just spit bubble. Getting passionate. And so we want to eat foods and protect our throat and our voice box. So from an immune perspective, we always want to make sure that we're having enough vitamin D. If you're susceptible to strep throat, you really want to have the good probiotics because good bacteria is, so you might have a chewable probiotic, or you might eat a cultured or a fermented dairy product like kefir or organic yogurt, or you might drink kombucha, or you might rinse and gargle with apple cider vinegar, raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar, things that clean the bacteria from the throat. You want to make sure that you're flossing, that you want to make sure that you're rinsing with warm water, or that you're oil pulling with coconut oil or sesame oil to keep your mouth clean and to keep your throat from getting infected. Now, kids who get tonsillitis or who have their adenoids are inflamed, generally always sensitive to dairy and milk products, and also eat too much sugar. Sugar really damages the immune system. It can really affect a sore throat. Same thing with alcohol and too many stimulants. If you put sugar in your coffee, or too much sugar or honey in your tea. Now, honey and tea can be very soothing, especially if it's raw, unpasteurized wildflower honey. It can be good for the immune system, can be probiotic, has immunoglobulins in there to help strengthen. So thyme tea with honey, or other herbs that are really good for soothing the throat are licorice tea, licorice lozenges, which we call DGL, deglycerized licorice extract, cherry bark, mullein, all herbs that are slippery, and those slippery natured foods are oatmeal and okra and flax seeds. So they have that mucilage in it, that really plantain that really helps to heal and soothe the mucous membranes. And so avoiding scalding foods, avoiding foods that are too acidic like orange juice. Now lemon can have the opposite effect because lemon's actually alkaline forming. It's acidic in the stomach, so it helps to stimulate the digestive juices, but it's alkalizing to the bloodstream. So it has a different effect. It cuts through mucus. It doesn't create mucus like orange juice or grapefruit juice. Other foods that can create mucus just are concentrated sugar, doughy foods, breads, donuts, pastries. You really want to try to avoid those, especially if you have throat issues. There are really good products like Singer's Saving Grace, which is a spray with licorice herbal based, or those Fisherman's Friends lozenges, which are made from licorice, which can really help to soothe the throat. So I do recommend those. And if you're under stress and you get a sore throat, then take it easy. Take a break, Taurus. Okay, don't push yourself too hard. And in addition to vitamin D, keeping your immune system up with vitamin D, taking your probiotics. Then you also might want vitamin C or zinc during the flu season. You want to eat well-cooked foods, not as many raw foods. So that's soups and stews and foods that your stomach can digest really well. You might want to avoid foods that cause your esophageal sphincter to be weakened. So those are foods have xanthines in them, like caffeine, so coffee, alcohol, chocolate, teas with tannins, and even peppermint. Too much peppermint products can also cause upset. Now, peppermint can also help with digestion, but if it's irritating, then you definitely want to avoid it. Okay, so if you're a public speaker, if you're a singer, then and for those people who have a moon in Taurus, should take special care of these parts of the body. People suffering from this under the zodiac sign can suffer from, or people under the zodiac sign can also suffer from earaches. And again, that's related to dairy, especially ear infections in children. If you're having, cheese lovers, cream lovers, kids who love to drink a lot of milk, just think about what dairy is filled with. It's treated with antibiotics. It's treated with, they're given vaccines. There's lots of contaminations in dairy products. And so it's not the same as eating raw, unpasteurized. If you eat raw, unpasteurized milk or raw, unpasteurized cheese, which is even illegal in certain states, or you can't get it, then that's a different thing because there's no lactose in that, and also it's not as inflammatory. It actually could be beneficial. Whereas conventionally treated milk, raised milk, homogenized milk, skim milk, all these, even even whole milk that's conventionally treated has been treated with the cows have been given bovine growth hormone, or they've been given antibiotics. So it's a minimum organic, but even I would say if you have these problems of the throat, the ears, lots of inflammation in the ears or earaches, or if you're prone to ringing in the ears, that's more associated with stress. It can also, of course, be associated with having a virus, having gotten a virus and never recovering from it. So it could be the flu or a cold virus that's gotten into your ear. If that's the case, you really need to minimize your stress. Maybe put cotton in your ears, really do adaptogenic herbs like a lot of good mushrooms, reishi, shiitake, not button mushrooms, reishi, shiitake, maitake, turkey tail, chaga, these kinds of immune mushrooms. Astragalus is really good for the immune system. Eleutherococcus, some of the less stimulating ginsengs. If you're into Chinese herbs like codonopsis or jujubes. But if you're into Western, again, licorice, very good for the adrenal glands, especially if you're fatigued with low blood pressure. Licorice is very good. And other herbs are rhodiola, so that's a Russian herb, or ashwagandha. That's an Ayurvedic or an Indian herb. And so different herbs from different parts of the world, and as well as North American herbs or European herbs like lemon balm and yeah, lemon balm is a really big one for the nervous system that helps it relax, or chamomile, really good, especially if you're having sleep problems, Taurus. You also want to warm your throat, so do drink the warm teas, not scalding, but warm, with a little bit of raw honey. Especially good for mucus collection in the throat are thyme teas Oil of oregano teas are natural antibacterial, great for strep. You can do oil of oregano drops or so that also and mix that with honey. That's a really great strep throat remedy, all just good for soothing that part of the body. You can also put warm compresses and just help to warm the throat by wearing scarves and not letting your neck be exposed. Taurians can also be suffering from arthritis of the neck or have blockages in the veins and the carotid arteries, so be at risk of stroke. So if that's the case, you definitely want to make sure that you're having enough fish oils, omega-3 fatty acids, so the wild salmon, the small wild caught salmon, albacore tuna, mackerels, sardines, herring, anchovies, as well as flaxseed, hemp seed, all good for reducing plaque buildup, vitamin K2, which is found in fermented organic soy like natto, or you can get a supplement of vitamin K2. Do not take calcium products, especially calcium carbonate, unless you're taking vitamin D and vitamin K2. That prevents artery blockages and buildup. As important as calcium is, the best source is not from dairy because dairy is high in phosphorus. You really want to get your calcium sources from beans and legumes and leafy green vegetables and sesame seeds and almonds and even organic tofu, organic tempeh, excellent sources of calcium. And now, some people need more calcium than others. If you're elderly, if you're petite, frail bones, maybe northern climate, white women is the highest ratio of people that are having osteoporosis or osteopenia, but also smokers. Very important, also smoker, if you're a smoker and a Taurian, to quit so that you do not end up with, you're more likely to get a throat cancer, whereas Aries are more likely to get a tongue or a mouth cancer, and Geminis are more likely to get a lung cancer. But if you smoke, then you're at a higher risk of any of these conditions. If you do have arthritis in the neck, then you do want to make sure that you're taking a lot of turmeric or curcumin, biocurcumin, which is an extract of turmeric. I'll put a link for a good quality biocurcumin in the comments and in the comments section so that you can have access to that, or glucosamine sulfate or collagen if you want to drink bone broth or eat a lot of broth, chicken soup, also great for any of the colds areas that I mentioned. Now, in terms of the sun sign, the sun aspect of Taurus, Taurus people love food, okay? And this is a big problem that contributes to the ill health or the disease process in a Taurian. So the sun in Taurus causes weight gain. And there's also another reason for weight gain, which is Taurus develop hypothyroid because the thyroid gland is right here in the throat. And so hypothyroid comes along from stress. Actually, it's a progress. The hypothyroid doesn't happen immediately unless you're exposed to radiation or something, which a lot of us are exposed to quite a bit of radiation. To detoxify radiation, then we take a lot of broccoli family vegetables, we take cilantro, and we eat a lot of seaweeds. And anybody with hypothyroidism should be having seaweeds because of the natural source of iodine in the diet. Even if you're on Synthroid, or if you're a Taurus who's already on Synthroid or a medication for thyroid, you still do want to improve your thyroid gland naturally, and you can overcome thyroid disease. Even if it's an autoimmune type of thyroid disease, you can overcome this. Now, autoimmune is more related to the digestion, but if it affects the thyroid, you could be a Taurus. But then also, if you just have regular hypothyroid, then that also could be related to Taurus. And then your skin gets dry and it might flake in other parts of the body. And other reason why you really need the omega-3 fatty acids from the nuts and the seeds, the coconut oil, the avocado, also from the fatty fishes that I mentioned earlier, as well as hydrating with water. It's not enough to hydrate just with water, though. You need the minerals. So you need the electrolytes, you need the magnesium, you need the potassium, you need the trace minerals. So you need to use sea salt. Sea salt's also the best salt for the thyroid. It's not doing the iodized salt. We need to get the iodine from foods that come from the sea, not synthetic iodine that's added to salt. That kind of salt causes high blood pressure, makes the whole system worse, increases your risk of high blood pressure, and then you need to have so much more potassium and magnesium to make up for that sodium that you're getting from table salt. Whereas if you eat sea salt, the unbleached kind, then you're getting a little bit of iodine, not very much, but you're also getting all the other 89 trace minerals that help to reduce your blood pressure, help to stabilize and nourish your thyroid gland, nourish your adrenal glands. Your adrenal glands do need salt in order to function well. If the adrenal glands have been burned out because of long chronic stress, then one place it's likely to go is to hurt the thyroid next. And that's why a lot of people get hypothyroid after a period of stress. Okay, and hypothyroid is related to a sluggish or slow metabolism, which does cause weight gain. So the sun in Taurus also causes hair to fall. So that can happen with hypothyroid conditions, or it can just happen in general. If you get surgery, then your hair might fall out for 3 months after that. If you have iron deficiency, which is another mineral deficiency, then you don't have enough circulation going to your scalp. The blood's not circulating there, so the body does not prioritize having your hair on your head. So this is another way that flax seeds can really help, especially if you have hormone problems as well as hair falling. Flax seeds are really good for that. So a B12, especially if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, you want to make sure that you have enough iron. Iron does not just cause anemia and then that's it. Iron deficiency causes hair loss, shortness of breath, pigmentations of the skin, uneven skin tone, fatigue. It also causes pain because if you're not making enough blood, if you don't have enough iron, you're not making enough blood, then you can get angina, you can get chest pains, you can get leg pains, you can get cramps. Okay, and so not to mention you get winded when you're going up the stairs, or you're too winded to do exercise, or you might have asthma and it exacerbates your asthma. Not to mention blotchy skin, especially people beautiful dark complexions, they get like lightening of the skin, their skin tone becomes very uneven. It can happen because of iron deficiency. So especially if you're vegetarian, make sure that you're getting enough iron. If you are eating red meat, then that can be a good source, but blackstrap molasses is a good source of iron. Dark leafy greens, not everybody absorbs iron from green leafy vegetables very well. You could juice yellow dock, or you could juice nettles or drink nettle tea, a very concentrated source of iron. Or you could take the Floridex, a supplement, any kind of gentle iron bisglycinate supplement, or a multivitamin with an absorbable form of iron. I recommend an isotonics, a powdered multivitamin, which is not all powdered multivitamins are the same, but the one that I recommend is isotonic. So it's absorbed within the digestive, it bypasses the digestive tract and absorbed in the bloodstream within 10 minutes. And again, I'll put the link for how you get that at the bottom. Low blood pressure also can be common with Taurus, and this can also be due to lack of mineral intake. So again, it comes back to eating enough salt, eating enough seaweeds, eating enough food from the sea. So the fish that's in the sea, so the anchovies and the mackerel. And people tend to avoid salt because we're so afraid of high blood pressure, but low blood pressure is also a problem. So this also brings us back to licorice root. Licorice root is so good for soothing the throat. If it's deglycerized, then it can help soothe the throat without raising your blood pressure. But if you have low blood pressure, then you actually might need a little bit of kick from the licorice. So that could be in form of a licorice tea or a licorice tincture or a licorice capsule. And fatigue goes along with this. So if Tauruses are overly stressed and then they, for a long period of time, they suffer with all these moon-like symptoms with neck pain or throat issues or strep throat or acid reflux. All these conditions are related to stress, and then they go on for a long time, and then the thyroid things happen, or then they become, the hot temper, the kind of like driven Taurus gets tired, and they can experience chronic fatigue or low levels of energy. And again, minerals are really important, as well as eating regularly, not going for too long a period of time. Now, Taurus is an earth sign, and so generally are pretty grounded. But regardless of gender, Taurus people can suffer from throat issues, colds, hoarseness, and have worse sore throats, like meaner sore throats than other people. They can last longer than other sun signs. Taurus, the good thing about you guys is you do love vegetables, you do love fruits, you do love meat, you do love bread. And so the fruits and vegetables is good, especially the vegetables. Meat as a good source of protein, a good source of minerals. If you're a Taurus and avoiding meat, then that might not be a good idea, especially depending on your blood type. If you're a type O blood type, then you do need to eat meat. But be careful of bread, because especially gluten, because if your digestive tract is not in shape, or if you have any autoimmune, if you have any thyroid antibodies, or if you've had strep throat, and be careful of dairy also. Taurus rules the cervical vertebrae, and also the lower teeth and the jaw palate and the chin. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're having that's where the bone broth comes in, keeping it limber, having enough magnesium, which is all the minerals that come from the earth. So carrots and root vegetables and turnips and beets have minerals, and beans and potatoes and onions and a really good source of potassium and magnesium. Um, and then when the sun enters Taurus, sore throats, earaches, stiff necks, very common. So use warmth and keep yourself at home. If you're experiencing anything, don't push it. If you do get a cold, then that's a sign, or a strep throat especially, this is a sign that your immune system is really struggling. Take the probiotics, drink the hot teas, the warm teas, not too hot. Take the vitamin D. Vitamin D has been shown in studies. I talked about research at the beginning of this one, but it has been shown in the studies to be as good as flu shots, if not better. And so keep yourself well nourished, well mineralized, and avoid all the problem foods. Okay, Taurus, and don't let yourself get too stressed. Thank you so much for tuning in.